everyone, I'm Rugveda Bagwe and I'm one of the 32 changemakers of this year's F.A.I.R project 2023. So, when we were asked to shoot a video for our showcase, I immediately went through my brain, started rummaging through my brain what all topics I know about, what all topics I'm passionate about, and I started to think maybe if I talk about gender equality, well, yes, I know a bit about it. If I talk about marginalized, underprivileged children in the field of education, yes, maybe I can talk about it. Maybe about mental health, or maybe about films, because I love watching films. I love reading about films, film appreciation, and music videos and K-pop. Maybe I can talk something about it, or maybe I can talk about one of my favorite book. And then an epiphany occurred to me. I realized that I have so much information in my tiny little brain. Now, I wouldn't say I have information about one particular thing, like an expertise in one particular thing, but I have so much information of so many different things. And where do I get this information? Obviously from the internet. And so I decided to talk about this very problem, this very issue, which is overloading of information in Generation Z. Now, before moving on to the topic, I would like to take you through all the four generations. The four generations, in the sense, the generations which were born after World War II, because obviously I'm talking about the modern era. So the first generation which was born after the World War II were the baby boomers. So who were they? They were the people who were born from 1946 to 1964. Why were they called baby boomers? Well, after World War II, the world was, surviving in the aftermath of the horrendous experience of the war. They had seen death everywhere, and because of the war, there was a sudden rise in birth rates in the post-World War II era. Hence they were called the baby boomers, and they were the first generation after the war who experienced financial prosperity and consumerism. Then the second generation was Generation X. They were born from 1965 to 1979. Now, this generation were the generations who came from family where both the parents were working, or single parents, or they were the kids of divorced parents. Then they witnessed the rise in cable television network, TV, etc., etc. Then came Generation Y, or the millennials. They were born from 1980 to 1994 or 1996. This generation was the generation which actually witnessed the advent or rise in the internet age. They realized the internet. They realized how technology is bringing about changes in their daily life, etc., etc. And the next generation were the Generation Z, which is us. We were born from 1995 to 2012. We are the generations who are permanently born in the internet age. So, we are the digital natives. So, what differentiates us from these all generations? So, let's see the difference between digital natives and digital immigrants. Who are digital immigrants? Well, you can say that digital immigrants are the people who were introduced to the internet later on in their life, and they were influenced by it, and they started using it. They adapted the internet in their own lives. So how to differentiate between these? Well, for example, digital immigrants may prefer calling people, while digital natives like us would just text people. Digital immigrants would go out, meet friends, meet family in get-together functions, while we would just try to meet our family and friends on online chat rooms, through texts, through video calls, etc., etc. Digital immigrants would use proper English words, proper language words, linguistic words, while digital natives like us, the Generation Z, we would use, very casual language, textual languages, etc. Then digital immigrants would look at internet as not the real world. I mean, they would just seek out internet for getting information. But for digital natives, internet is the real thing. We find like-minded people, we find our interests, our work is dependent on internet, etc. and etc. And here comes the issue of information overload. What can I talk about Generation Z? Well, Generation Z is very well aware of the world. We know everything. We know what are the real issues of the world, the discrimination, the racism, the racial discrimination, the gender inequality that women or people in general face in their workplace, the various latest updates in technology, entertainment industry, etc. etc. We know everything and anything of all the things. But when does it become a problem? Well, the problem happens when we are just collecting information and we are not having any kind of outlet outside it. Where is the outlet? There are no real conversations. And what does the internet do to you? Let's see, for example, if for someone like me, I love to read about films, I love to watch K-pop music videos, I love anything related to literature and music and film, how these three intersect and kind of literature, how literature is used in films, etc. etc. So obviously the internet or YouTube or the app, the social media app which I'm using for gathering this information, it makes me believe its algorithm will always give me content related to that particular topic in my feed. And what I will feel that, oh my god, films, entertainment industry, literature is the big thing in the world. That's what I am for. That's the important thing in the world. For example, some other person who is more interested in, let's say, automobiles, cars and etc. So he or she will search a lot about it on the internet. Obviously the internet algorithm will give him or her more content and information on it in his or her feed of that app, and he will think that, oh my god, automobiles and cars is the next big thing in the world. If somebody is more interested in fashion designing or clothing brands, textile, then obviously they will search that more on the internet, and the internet will give them that information itself, that feed itself, that content itself, and they will think that is the big thing in the world. So information, we are gathering information, but are we really believe in the democracy, that the information which we are intaking? We will think that, oh, no, we will always stand for the information that we are getting. We will always fight for it. So even though we are so very highly well informed, highly well educated about that particular information, there is no kind of tolerance which we can see among ourselves. And there is a sense of alienation and dissatisfaction among us, as there are no real conversations. So if we find any kind of discrepancy in this real world which is slightly different from our information, from what we believe in, we will immediately go on the internet and we will search for our like-minded people, for the kind of friends that we have made on social media, and we will feel satisfied. Yes, this is what I have. But as there is nothing going on real life around us, we will be into that delusional world. So what is the use of getting so much information when we can't propagate it, when we can't propagate that information, when we can't execute that information, when we cannot implement it? And there is a need for us to have real life conversation on the information that we are gathering. We need to be very intentional, very productive, and very thoughtful about the type of content that we are intaking through the internet, the type of information that we are intaking through the internet, and at the same time we have to be very, very thoughtful in reducing our internet usage. And why? And let's talk more about the sense of alienation and dissatisfaction that we feel. Let's see that this is us, okay? This is us. We have the internet, we can do our work from it, we can gather information of our interests, we have our hobbies satisfied through the internet, okay? We meet our friends and family through this. So this all, whatever we are gathering, this information, the internet which we are using, is all about me and myself. But what about the society? Because as we all know, we are a part of this whole society. A society where mutual interdependence is inevitable. But due to constant usage of internet for gathering information, we are isolating ourselves and we are living in this delusional world that, oh my god, I know a lot, I am entitled to this information, people need to listen to me. But when you don't get like-minded people, you again withdraw yourself into that cocoon, into that bubble of which you have built around yourself, where you think you have like-minded people around you. But it is just in the virtual world. Hence, we need to have real-life conversation about this information. Otherwise, you will always sink and wallow in that information overload where you wouldn't even know how to use it. And that's what F.A.I.R also teaches us. F.A.I.R teaches us to use information and propagate it, have real life conversations on it, talk with people. F.A.I.R urges us to see beyond our spectrum of personal life, that is our interest, our hobbies, our friends, our job, our studies. It urges us to see beyond this spectrum. It is really necessary to do that. And secondly, what I feel is very important to kind of do some kind of damage control that is information overload is doing to us is practice gratitude. Now, when I say gratitude, I say this because information overloading, and as we are surrounded by so many social media triggers, we are just so involved in ourselves that we think that we are self-sufficient for ourselves. We try to ignore the people around us. We become cynical due to that. We don't even know what is going on in our family. But who gives us this internet? Obviously the Wi-Fi. There are people who are working to give us the Wi-Fi. There is the cable guy and stuff like that. So if we practice gratitude, like writing everyday gratitude journal, which I'm doing, and I'm taking really slow and baby steps towards it, but it is helping me to a certain extent. If we start to practice gratitude, maybe we will be able to see the bigger picture. We will be able to see the validity of our own information. Maybe we will be able to see the validity of other people that they have in our own lives, and we will be more happier, we will be more satisfied. Oh my god, that seemed very deep and very serious. So in order to end this video on a very lighter note and a comical note, I would just say that Generation Z never talks like this. Oh my god, bro, you killed it, dead meat, slay. We guys never talk like this. Thank you.